All right. Alrighty. Good morning. It's Morning Coffee 0004. And I want to address two things. Number one, obviously the most important thing, is that the SNAP benefits did not go through on November 1st. So I must assume that the Trump administration is totally okay with millions of people dying. And the Democrat Party, led by Chucky Schumer, is also okay with millions of Americans dying. I mean, what else am I to assume from that? Like I said in the previous video, they can pull money from the Pentagon. They can pull money from other wackadoodle services that aren't even being utilized at the moment to pay for the food stamps. The food stamps is only $8.8 billion. And they can pull the billions and billions of dollars of waste and fraud into covering that. Now, the reason I'm mentioning it a second time in a second video is because California has a food bank, and the food bank is now reporting, their spokesman actually came out and got behind a podium and said that the California Food Bank is not going to be able to cover all Californians that need food. The food bank can handle maybe 80,000 at best, whereas the SNAP program would handle 125 to 135 million or thousand or whatever it is, and so it falls short. It falls far short. They're 80 versus the food stamp program's 120 to 130, 135, whatever. I'm spitballing the numbers here, but you get what I'm saying. There's not enough to cover every American that needs stamps, the equivalent of food stamps. Not going to be able to cover it. They're just not. And I suspect other states are that way as well, not just California. So, there is going to be loss of life as a result of this. I'm sure that the Democrats and the Republicans, the states will cover it. The states cannot cover it. The California spokesperson just came out behind a podium and said they can't cover it. Okay, that's why the stamp program exists, is to cover the people that need assistance. Now, I can understand the Republicans' point, because the Republicans are saying that illegals should not get food stamps, they should not get SSI, they should not be put up in fancy hotels in New York City, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And I sympathize with that issue. However, by the same token, once the Republicans seen that Chucky Schumer was not going to go ahead with the vote on the open bill, somebody should have stepped up, such as Mr. Johnson. Hey, Speaker Johnson, you out there? Should have spoke up and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring back Elon Musk, and he's going to find all this waste, fraud, and abuse that's going on in the Pentagon, and we'll take $8.8 billion of that money, and we'll put it into the food stamp program to keep the food stamp program going. That's what should have happened. Well, it didn't happen, though, didn't it? Did it, boys and girls? No, because my food stamp card has a whopping 50 cents on it. As of right now, my food stamp card has a whopping 50 cents on it, and it shouldn't. It should be, what is it? I think $291 or some shit. So, we got a problem. We got a real problem, and it's a serious one. And, a pox on both their houses. This should not be happening. It should not be allowed to happen. There's tons of money in Washington, D.C. that is being wasted every day that could be diverted to cover the food stamp program. They're just not wanting to do it. The Democrats or the Republicans. Are you hearing me, voter? And I said the word voter for a reason. Because the left-right paradigm is just that, is a paradigm. All right, and if you can't figure it out by now, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's a paradigm, and as a result, we need a qualified third party. Now, I prefer the Constitution Party, but I mean, you can, the Green Party's out there. Which, by the way, the Republicans and Democrats don't like the Green Party either. They don't like the Constitution Party. They don't like the Green Party. Why? Because the Green Party and the Constitution Party are alternatives to their bullshit. And as I've said numerous times, a bird needs two wings to fly, not one. It needs two of them. So, Maybe it's time that the conservatives look at the Constitution Party as a viable alternative, whereas the liberals and leftists look at the Green Party as a viable alternative. And I understand. My understanding is that the Green Party's presidential candidate was a really nice lady, but she couldn't get nowhere because the Democrat Party blocked her at every opportunity. Isn't that interesting, Democrats? Maybe you ought to check out the Green Party, find out what's going on there, because the Democrats blocked her from getting any kind of notoriety, any kind of recognition, any kind of voting. They blocked her at every turn. You might want to investigate that, Democrats. Find out what's going on there, because something's going on there, because she got blocked at every turn. And she's a nice lady. Seems like it, Seems like a really nice lady. So anyway, check that out, Democrats. That's some homework for you to do. Now, but yeah, the food stamp program is obviously the number one priority, because people are going to die without food. Okay, that's reality. You have to have food to live. Okay, and now of course the elites like to call us useless eaters. Yes, that really is a term. You can Google that. And so, yeah, there's that, we'll just cut off the food stamp program and get rid of all the useless eaters. Well, yeah, I got a real problem with that. And I imagine a whole bunch of other people have a real problem with that as well. But let's be clear. A pox on both their houses, Republican and Democrat. Okay, if you are a voter and you vote, keep that in mind when we go to vote again. That both the Republicans and the Democrats could have stopped this and funded the food stamp program. They just didn't want to do it. And maybe that's the reason they got rid of Elon Musk in the first place. What do you think, guys? Elon Musk was this close to finding all kinds of waste, fraud, and abuse in the Pentagon. This close. And then he gets booted? You think that's coincidence? Come on, folks. I know it's early in the morning, but we got functioning brains. Come on, let's get the brain and burn. Put some hot cocoa in you or some coffee or something, and think your brain. Get your brain thinking here, because he was this close to finding trillions and trillions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse in the Pentagon, and he gets booted. Think that's a coincidence? Hell no, it ain't a coincidence. That's a fact, Jack. Think about it. That's a fact. So yeah, it's nothing is by coincidence, folks. Let's just get that straight. Nothing is by coincidence, okay? It's just not. But the food stamp program obviously is a very serious thing, and it's not to be taken lightly, which is what Chucky Schumer is doing. And to a lesser extent, the Republicans are doing. Like I said, Speaker Johnson, all he had to do was just, divert some funds to cover the food stamp program, but he didn't. Why? Well, that's a good question. How about it, Speaker Johnson? You got an explanation for me? Because I'm sure the American public would love to know why you haven't already diverted funds to keep the food stamp program going. And you did, and we did it the last time they pulled this little stupid stunt. We were able to keep the food stamp program going. Why? Because they diverted funds over to keep the food stamp program going. Well, why didn't we do it this time? Oh, good question, right? Because remember, the last time they had one of these brouhahas, food stamp program kept going because they diverted funds. Well, they didn't divert funds this time. So why? Why didn't we divert funds this time, Speaker Johnson? Why? Why didn't we do that? Lots of questions, very few answers. Now, on to point number 2. Because this keeps coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up, and so I'm going to address it, okay? We are not reptilians. Now are we? No, because if we were reptilians, we would be cold-blooded, and every one of us would freeze to death every winter. We're not cold-blooded reptiles. Sorry. The Anunnaki and Quetzalcoatl and all these other reptilian gods that supposedly created us did not create us, because we were created in their image, right? I mean, all the ancient documents do say we were created. Okay, well, if we're created in their image, we would be reptilian, and we're not. Now, having said that, we were modified. They modified. They did not create us. They modified us. Now, here's a feather in the cap to the atheists, okay, and the secularists. It is entirely possible that we came out of the soup. Okay, I'm willing to entertain that. However, let's be clear. We did not have a common ancestor with the monkey, the chimpanzee, the, orangutans, gorillas, whatever. We did not have a common ancestor with a monkey. You say, well, Bon, why do they keep pushing this anyway, this common ancestor? Because they want to lessen humanity. See, you have to understand something about war, okay? It's very important you understand something about war. It is very, very difficult to get people to kill human beings because we're human beings. We have a divine spark. We are created a little lesser than the angels, as the one Bible verse says. But we're human. We are human, we are sentient, and we are, we have that divine spark. And so when it comes to killing another human being, it's very difficult. There's actual hardwired stuff within us that says, no, I'm not going to kill that other human being because he's a human being. So what you have to do in war, in order to get them to kill the other human being, is you have to lessen their humanity. Oh, well, those people are what? Mindless savages. They're barbarians. They're infidels. They're kafirs. They're goyim. They're filth, garbage, whatever. You have to lessen their humanity in order to be able to kill them. So, by coming up with this stupid idea that we have a common ancestor through an ape, what does that do? It lessens our humanity. It lessens our uniqueness. It lessens that divine spark of creativity. I mean, even Carl Sagan in his own book said that Cro-Magnon man had, quote, outside help, unquote. Okay, well, unfortunately, Carl didn't elaborate on that outside help. but interest, because he's a flaming atheist. But I mean, but yeah, so even Carl Sagan in his book admitted they had outside help. So where did that outside help come from? The Anunnaki, the reptilian extraterrestrials. But he won't say that for some reason. He won't say that. But in any event, no matter what you believe in that particular vein, we are obviously one step above. So in order to kill another human being, you have to lessen their creativity, their uniqueness, their humanity. Okay, you have to do that. And that's just the way it goes. So, in any event, that's where we're at on that. And so, no, they are not our creators. Now, obviously, Zecharia Sitchin is the one that says they're our creators. They are not. They modified us. You can say that. Because that's where these blue blood people come from. Blue blood elitists, with high concentrations of reptilian DNA in their blood. That's where they get all that from. They get that from the modifications that were made. But we were modified, but we were not created. So if you want to say we come out of the soup, or if you want to say we were created by the source, either way works. But then like I said, the extraterrestrials modified us a little bit for whatever reasons. The reasons vary depending upon who you talk to. But in any event, there we go. So I wanted to clear up those two things because it was kind of annoying me. So there we go. We got that all took care of. All right, that's it. 0004 in the can. Have a good day. Alrighty, let me address something real quick because it needs to be addressed. There is a concerted effort to try to dox me, to try to find out where I'm at. You will not find out where I'm at. What have I been saying in my videos? By the time you figure out where I'm at, I'm done gone. Now, you can figure out where I went. You can either say I went to Nevada, or you can say I went back to Fairfax, or whatever it's called. I think it's Fairfax. Where did I go? But I can assure you that whatever you're thinking, wherever you think I am not there. I've done moved on. I might be in Nevada hooking up with Miss Parker. Did you guys ever think of that? What did Miss Parker say in the live show we did together? You need to come to Nevada to be with me. Is that what she said? Yeah. You trolls are so gullible. You are so easily played. I don't understand. Why are you guys so easily played, man? You think you're in control. You think you got all the right stuff. Well, you don't. But anyways, one thing is for sure, I am going to be checking out some campgrounds, and that's further south than my current location. That is true. That is very true, because I do need to investigate that. What is cheaper? Is it going to be cheaper to be on a campground? Is it going to be cheaper to get an efficiency apartment? Is it going to be cheaper to, look into some other things? But now my cousin is going to help me get my SSI, and for the obvious reason that I'm going to be on my own. I'm not going to be anywhere near her. And because you guys have scared the shit out of that poor girl. So I'm going to find my own place, and it's obviously going to be, by the time you figure out where I'm at, I'm not there anymore. Okay? Keep that in mind, boys and girls. There'll be a quiz later. And I've said this in numerous videos now, so you got no excuse, right? By the time you figure out where I'm at, I am not there. And like I said in the comment section of my video, I'll probably be, probably down near Phoenix, where it's an awful lot warmer than it is even here. So we'll probably look into that maybe. But for sure, by the time you figure out where I'm at, or where you think I'm at, I'm not there anymore. And like I said, there's places, lots of places to check out that I have to check out here in Arizona that are farther south than my current location. But trust me, trolls, you will not figure out where I'm at. You can sit there and assume all you want, but it's not going to help you. Okay? Because by the time you figure it out, I'm long gone. But just keep that in mind. What did Ms. Parker say? You need to come to where? Nevada. You need to come to Las Vegas, Nevada to be with me. So, keep that in mind, trolls. And you have a wonderful day. Bye. Alrighty, folks. Got some Atlas update info on for you. It turns out that Atlas has went completely dark. This is being reported by Michio Kaku's YouTube channel, that Atlas has went completely dark. No lights, no noises, no nothing. It's went completely dark. And apparently this has got a lot of people terrified, because when something goes dark, as Michio Kaku pointed out in his video, just because something goes dark doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's gone dark. So, and they're using, and like he said in his video also, they're using terms like behavior, attitude, activities, that sort of thing, indicators that this creature, who was the first one that said this was a space whale? Oh yeah, that would be me. Well, guess what? Now they're saying it has behaviors. They're using that term behavior. What does that signify? That signifies that it's alive, that it's a living organism, just like Von told you. So there we go. So now we've got the actual facts, Jack. So there we go. So yeah, but it's went dark. Nobody can find it. It's literally off their radar. Even though it's on this side of the sun, where they should be able to detect it, we can't look at it because the sun has us blinded. But we should still be able to detect it. Well, we can't detect nothing. It's went completely dark, which indicates intelligence, which indicates a biological entity. But they're using the term behavior, which would indicate a biological entity as opposed to necessarily an artificial craft of some kind. So I don't know, but yeah, I just thought I'd let you know Michio Kaku has updated the 3-Eye Atlas information, and it has gone completely dark. Nobody knows where it's at, which is scary, very scary. Alright, that's all I got. Bye. That's all I got. Bye.